Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Trinity Stamps Enchanted Woods video hop. I'm Cassie. We're celebrating the new release for Trinity Stamps, and I'm so glad you're here. All of the hop info will be listed down below, so be sure to check that out. But let's talk about what we're using today. I'm going to be focusing on the Tiny Fairy Silhouette stamp set. It is darling. It has some cute little sentiments, 4 little silhouette fairies, and all their little pieces to go with them. And then here is the matching die. I love that it'll cut out all the fairies and also the word fairy. We're also going to be using the Simply Sentimental Happy stamp set and die set. And then I have the Slimline Woodsy stamp set along with the matching die for the little leaves and things down below. That just felt like it paired perfectly with it. Even though it's an oldie, it's a goodie. All right, I'm bringing in some craft cardstock. I cut off 4 inches from that craft cardstock. That will make my base. This is 7 inches by 8.5 inches. So I'm going to score it at 3.5 inches. Yes, we're making a slimline. So closed, this will be 3.5 inches by 8.5 inches. That's going to leave me with this 4-inch panel. I'm going to go ahead and leave it to be 4 inches for now, and then I'll pull out that Slimline Woodsy stamp. I'm going to ink that up with some Twiggy Brown by Ink on 3, and then stamp that down a couple times just to make sure that I have a good impression on there. But I left it 4 inches so that way I could cut it down where I wanted it to be cut down. All right, moving on, I have a piece of watercolor cardstock. I'm going to spritz that with some Distress spray stains. We've got Shabby Shutters and Forest Moss. I'll bring in that Shabby Shutters again, and then I'm going to heat set that till that is nice and dry because I want to stamp on that. We're going to use our little leaves from that Slimline Woodsy stamp set, and we're going to stamp those with some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink all across that little panel. I used both of the leaves. I'll bring in their matching dies, and I'll run that through my die cutting machine several times to make sure I get them all cut out, and that'll make for our little scene back here. I love it. We're getting there. All right, I'll trim this panel down. So like I said, it needs to be 3.5 inches by 8.5 inches. So I'm just trimming off a little bit there. And then I'm going to use some various Distress Oxide colors to stamp out my fairies. I'm going to stamp each fairy twice just using a couple different colors. So our colors are some Wilted Violet, Picked Raspberry, Fossilized Amber, Salvaged Patina. Those are the 4 colors I decided to use. We're going to pull in their matching dies, and then we'll run that through our die cutting machine until all of those darling little fairies are cut out. And then we're going to do some embossing. So I'm using a anti-static powder tool on some Sentiment cardstock. It's a black cardstock, nice and smooth. It's perfect for it. I'm stamping out a couple of sentiments from our Simply Sentimental Happy. I've got Birthday and Happy, and then I do stamp out a couple of the sentiments from our Tiny Fairy Silhouette. I put Wishing You, and then Fairy, and then I'm going to cover that with our embossing powder, and then heat set that till those are smooth and melted. I'll set those off to the side, and then I'm using my my anti-static powder tool, and I probably should have used it a little bit more, but I wanted to stamp out some of those little twinkles because this is supposed to be nice and ethereal. I'm just going to variously stamp those. I have my layout kind of picked how I want the images to go down. Nothing is put down yet. But I love that there's like little swirls, so it makes it look like there's movement, like our fairies have been swirling their little magic wands to make things happen. And so we're going to stamp one of those for each of our fairies. Then we can move all of our pieces out of the way and then cover that with that white embossing powder. You'll see that some of that embossing powder sticks to places I don't want it to. Like I said, I probably should have used the anti-static powder tool a little bit heavier, but that's okay. I'm just going to bring in a paintbrush and wipe away any of that excess powder, and then I'll heat set what is left till that is smooth and melted. But again, I want this to be nice and ethereal, so I'm bringing in a silver metallic paint or watercolor basically, that I'm going to splatter all over that background. It doesn't look like a whole lot there, but when you twist this in the light, it looks so good. I'll tack down the die for Fairy and Happy, and then we'll run that through our die cutting machine, and for those final sentiments we'll just trim those down using our guillotine trimmer. I just love that there's little dies for those. That's great. And then I'm going to pop our little fairies up using some foam tape. I just wanted those to be sticking out a little bit more than everything else. So it's just one little piece of foam tape, and I'll put those back where I believe they were. Trying to remember where they all were. And you'll notice I have 3 little fairies left over. Those are going to go in the inside of our card. But I'm telling you, building up this little scene was so fun. And I feel like there's so many fun little possibilities for this stamp set. It's so cute. And I know so many of you love the fairies. And then once those are down, we can start putting down our leaves. So I'm just going to stick those down with a little bit of liquid glue. I kind of wish that I had made more leaves so that I could really bulk this up and just make it, I don't know, more of a scene. But, you know, this is good enough. I just wish I'd have done more as I'm looking at it. I like it, but I wish I had done more. All right, now we need to put down our sentiments. So I'm going to go ahead and place those down where I think they're going to go before I tack anything down, because I just want to make sure that I have plenty of room. And then we can start gluing things down. I'll work from the outside in. So we've got wishing you a, and then our word birthday is going to go right here, right on that edge. And then I'll glue down the word happy and fairy. Isn't that fun? Wishing you a fairy happy birthday. I know exactly who this little card's going to go to. And then I do have pieces sticking out. You could trim these off with your scissors, but I'm just going to make this real easy on myself and stick it in the guillotine trimmer. Line that up nicely and cut down everything. And then we'll flip it and do that last little bit. And then it just makes this scene look like there's more going on outside of the front of our card. We're going to use that same liquid glue to attach down our panel to that card base that we made earlier. And then we'll glue down our little fairies on the inside. And here I decide I want to bring in a Jelly Roll star pen, which is basically a clear pen that has some sparkle to it. And I'm just going to draw my own little dots and stars, and I'll show you here in a little bit what that's going to look like. It's not much, but you can definitely see it in the light, and I think it's cute. But like I said, this is a part of a video hop. So I'm going to have the next hop down below, the next place you're going to want to hop to. You're going to want to check it all out and make sure that you comment for a chance to win a prize. And then head over to Instagram and check out what we're doing over there as well. That's the card for you today. I hope you loved it. I hope it inspires you. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button and consider subscribing if you have not already done so. And as always, I'll see you very soon in another video. Bye, everybody.